You're watching News Center 4, the Broncos station.
The National Broadcasting Company presents the National Football League. Today from Denver Mile High Stadium, it's the Los Angeles Raiders versus the Denver Broncos. Brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Yugo. Everybody needs a Yugo sometime. And by Merrill Lynch. Your world knows no boundaries.
Mile High Stadium, Denver, Colorado, a rockin' place for a very big opening game. The Raiders versus the Denver Broncos. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy. And they say, Trump, it has all the celebration of a playoff game. Dan Reeves, the Denver coach, says, though, how can it be the most important game of the year when there's 15 still to be played?
One thing, neither coach had to worry about the emotion of their players for this particular week. Last 3 games decided in overtime between these two teams. The last 5 games by 3 points or less.
Chris Barr ready to kick it off for Los Angeles, and the game is underway. A short kick. It's a spinner. And it's going to hop out of bounds, so the Raiders will have to kick again from their 30. Boys starting up in earnest on the opening kickoff. Last season, the Raiders beat the Denver Broncos twice, as you may well know, and of course, the Raiders went on to win the division with a 12-4 record, while the Denver Broncos finished second, a game behind at 11-5, but Dan Reeves and his team did not go to the playoffs, even with 11 wins.
And I think both coaches worry. Opening game of the season, everybody's got butterflies the size of helicopters. Simple little thing like what Gene Lang just did there on that kickoff. He let it go out of bounds, as opposed to trying to be a hero in the opening kickoff of the 1986 season. It made the right choice. And both Tom Flores and Dan Reeves in the early stages of this football game are looking for players making the right choice.
You see how the series stands dating back to the old American Football League. Opening day is a most important day since the league went to 16 games in 1978. The stats show that the team that wins on opening day has almost twice the chance of making the playoffs as the team that loses on opening day.
Ooh, that's a good one. I didn't know that.
That's how it breaks down.
The other thing between these two teams since 1978, when they played twice in a season, either team is swept. So this seems to be very important for either team and both teams.
Now Chris Barr ready to kick it off again. A high spinning kick again to the far side. This is the Gene Lang looking for the ball. They kicked it away from Vance Johnson, and Gene Lang brings it out across the 25, and he's going to fight his way close to the 30-yard line. The silver and black come a gang tackling, but the Broncos get a good return. And now John Elway, who's had a sensational summer, starting his 4th year, brings out the Bronco offense. Winder and Lang, the runners, neither a breakaway threat. Vance Johnson is the fastest Bronco, had a phenomenal game against the Rams in the final preseason game, catching 11 balls for 195 yards. Watson's the possession receiver. This offensive line isn't big, but it's underrated. They take good care of Elway. They gave up only 38 sacks last year, and the Broncos throw as much as anybody in the league. Elway, a fastball. Man is wide open. Vance Johnson. He'll be down at the 49-yard line of Los Angeles. So on the first play from Sturgeon, here's a late hit call against the Raiders.
21 yards on a catch. Mike Haynes into coverage. That typical Los Angeles Raider bump and run. There's Gene Tunney with a call, personal foul. You have no idea, if you're a Denver Bronco fan, how big a reception this is for Vance Johnson. Last year against Hayes and Haynes, the two gifted cornerbacks of the Raiders, they pretty much shut him down. Late hit by McElroy, an additional 15 yards. Bad choice by the Raiders. Excellent pattern run by Johnson.
He told me, Trump, before the game, Vance Johnson, he said, I'll admit it, I was intimidated by Los Angeles and had 2 terrible games against them, but he starts big with a 21-yard reception, followed by personal foul, penalty yardage assessed against the Raiders. First down, Denver, 34-yard line of Los Angeles. Opening series of downs for the Denver Broncos. Lang looks for room to run. Here's a penalty marker down. Linesman threw a marker at the snap.
This is going to continue throughout the week in the paper. In Denver and Los Angeles, Lester Hayes, personal foul against the Denver Broncos. Lester Hayes and Vance Johnson were really jawing at each other. Watch what happens at the line of scrimmage. And you see Watson on the outside, Johnson on the inside. Johnson goes for the chop block.
Left in, 5 yards, still first down.
You can see what Lester Hayes is doing, and he doesn't get called for it, but that's the intimidation factor of the Los Angeles Raider defense. By the way, Jim Tunney just walked up to Lester Hayes and said, "Don't do that again, son. It'll cost you 15." This is a playoff mentality for both of these.
Why didn't it cost him 15 there?
Because he
was checking him for stickum. I don't think he saw it.
Clarence Kay was caught moving.
Well, here we go. Now 1st and 15, Denver.
9 guys on the line of scrimmage for the
39-yard line of the Los Angeles Raiders. Johnson going in motion as Elway swings it out to Vance Johnson. The blockers in front. Vance Johnson takes it ahead for a gain of only 4 yards. He is cut down at the 36-yard line. The defensive front, excellent for Los Angeles. Howie Long, consensus All-Pro. Bill Pickell, a rising star at nose tackle, and Sean Jones. There's been some changes in the linebacking. Jerry Robinson starts for the cut Brad Van Pelt, who went to Cleveland. Millen and McKenzie in the middle again. Rod Martin again on the outside. Hayes and Haynes, 2 of the best at cornerback. Stacy Turan in for Mike Davis at strong safety. McElroy again, the free safety for the Raiders. 2nd down and almost 12, just over 11. Elway takes a look, and he throws an incomplete ball. He was looking at Vance Johnson. Running with him, stride for stride, was Mike Haynes. Look again here, Trump.
You can see that Johnson gets a good release off the line of scrimmage here, but he's got to go underneath almost everybody. This ball is just slightly overthrown, but Mike Haynes is right there in coverage with Vance Johnson. He's the big man now for them on the line of scrimmage. Vance Johnson out of the backfield. It's Steve Sewell, number 30. Last week, Broncos able to get Sewell into the offense. He's in the lineup right now with Gerald Wilhite also in the backfield.
Raiders on 3rd and long now go to a spread formation. Elway set in the shotgun at the Raider 40. Home run ball. Watson's open. Touchdown, Denver. Yay. 35 on a TD.
Several things. 1, Elway with great time, and 2, his athletic ability. Steve Sewell was a primary receiver on that pattern, and out and up, Elway finds Watson in the end zone.
Now Carlos attempting the point after with Kubiak holding. It is on the way and good. And with 13:24 left to play in the 1st quarter, the Broncos score on their opening drive. The big bomb to Watson is the number that does it. Here it is.
It's from the shotgun. Sewell is to John Elway's right, but Elway likes the matchup that he gets with Watson down here. Watson's not gotten a lot of business in the summer, but he beats, I can't pick up the number on the coverage, Mike Haynes. Mike Haynes so far not had a particularly good 1st quarter. Now, he told us just a few minutes ago, did not have much of a summer. He was only healthy, he thought, for 2 days of practice with a pulled hamstring. Didn't feel sharp. John Elway taking advantage of him. Good pass protection. Watch him step up. I think that's one of the big changes in John Elway. 2 years ago, he goes left or right. He's got no chance to find Watson. Big catch, sure-handed receiver, and the Broncos break out on top.
The 10-minute ticker, a new feature of NBC Sports. Every 10 minutes, 10 after, 20 after, and at the half hour, right on through the hour, we'll be updating all the scores from around the league, and that's how they stand today. Detroit was an upset winner over the Vikings at Minnesota, and Houston went into Green Bay as an underdog, and the Oilers maybe have it together after all those great drafts. They win big. San Francisco blowing out Tampa Bay in the fourth quarter. Atlanta has beaten New Orleans at the Superdome. That is an upset. Atlanta went as an underdog in that game. We'll be updating all the scores in progress and completed every 10 minutes throughout every broadcast on NFL football on NBC Sports in '86. Now, Carlos kicks off for the Denver Broncos. High spinner, downfield to Napoleon McCallum, the rookie from the Naval Academy. And McCallum takes it out across to the 21-yard line. Ensign McCallum playing football in his spare time, and he hasn't got much of that. He just got married. He's a full-time Navy man, and he's also playing. Tough year.
Offsides. Denver, will they kick it again? Apparently not.
Probably will, won't they?
I'd say Mr. McCallum has the all-time part-time job.
I would think the Raiders would want the kick over since they only got it back to the 20. They can do that good by downing the ball in the end zone. Here's Jim Tunney, the referee.
Offside on the kickoff, number 59, 5 yards, re-kick.
I have a feeling these guys are going to be busy today. This is one game we'll be thankful there's striped shirts out there on that field.
A very heated rivalry. 13-15 left to play in the first quarter. Here is McCallum, who set an NCAA record for all-purpose yardage at the Naval Academy, averaged over 208 yards a game in all-purpose yardage, rushing, receiving, and returning kicks. He's big, 6'2", 218 pounds, a big strider. The Raiders didn't think they'd get him until after his 5-year naval commitment. I'm sure you've heard about that. The Navy said, we want you in uniform.
He's a poster boy for him. There's no question about that. You can be all you want to be.
Well, they said, Trump, that the Raider players were telling him it's like the crowd noise at an Army-Navy game when you come to Denver, except nobody cheers for Navy. Here's the big hit downfield. This time, Stephon Adams takes the ball. He's a sprinter across the 20. He's got more to the 25 and the 28-yard line. Coming down on special teams was Dennison to lead the way. Also Ken Bell, and here comes Mark Wilson, number 6, to lead the offense. Marcus Allen coming off an MVP year in the NFL. Led the league in rushing, first Raider ever to do that. Hester and Williams, great speed at the flanks. Christensen, one of the very best at tight end. As usual, a huge offensive line. Mosbar really coming on. The Raiders think he's all-pro quality. Hawkins, nothing. Now, while we have a moment, with Broncos up 7-0, let's go to NFL 86 and Bob Costas. Bob? Right back here at Denver now. The Raiders are set to go. The second down and 9. High back is Marcus Allen. Christensen went down. Looked like he was tripped. Official right there looking at it said no. It's an incomplete pass. Third down and 9, and the long yardage defense comes in for Denver. Bronco pass rush keyed around Rulon Jones, the veteran nose tackle Reuben Carter, Andre Townsend, the other starting defensive end. Now new people have come in. Mecklenburg made all-pro last year. Been the best linebacker in the league the way he graded out. Ricky Hundley, a new starter inside linebacker. Safeties are veteran and Smith and Foley. So is cornerback Louis Wright. Mike Carton, another good cover. Denver very sound defensively, as always, under Joel Collier. Raiders trailing first quarter 7-0. All-out rush coming. Wilson gets some time. He's running out of it. And Townsend sacks him. Andre Townsend, a third-year defensive end from Mississippi.
Don, you mentioned the genius of Joe Collier. That particular time, the Denver Broncos had 7 defensive backs in the ballgame. They were able to double every receiver out there. Wilson had nobody to throw it to. Townsend man on man with Henry Lawrence from the left side of the screen. You'll see he's got nobody to throw to. That's a coverage sack.
So the Bronco defense overwhelms the Raiders on LA's first possession, and now Ray Guy ready to punt the ball. Gerald Wilhite is back. Broncos could come out of this with good field position. Wilhite will run it back from his 38. 40, out to the 44-yard line. Good coverage by the Raiders. 41-yard punt, a 5-yard return by Gerald Wilhite. 11:46 to play in the first quarter as Gerald Wilhite, a former #1 draft choice of Denver, comes off the field.
We're going to show you one of the things that I think Denver does very well with a scrambling quarterback in John Elway here in just a minute with our telestrator.
Elway stands in and he throws downfield and a penalty marker comes in. It's going to be on Lester Hayes, who again was unable to cover Vance Johnson.
That's holding. Johnson is very, very fast. Watch him break to the inside. Now watch this move back to the outside and Lester's left hand. Well, that's holding on both of them. That's holding on both of them. They're going to call it on Vance Johnson, pulling himself away from Lester Hayes.
Lester had a good preseason.
Offense number 82.
So the call goes against the Orange, and it was indeed Vance Johnson holding. Lester Hayes took his weight down about 15 pounds in the offseason and had 3 preseason game interceptions.
Good idea, but he just gets caught. That's a trick that wide receivers learn, but you've got to be a little more of an actor at it than that.
49ers won big at Tampa Bay 31-7 on opening day. We're in the first quarter, and now Elway and company with a tough set, 1st and 20 against the big pass rush of the Raiders. Howie Long coming hard, blocked well by Studdard. Here's a penalty marker down as Winder takes the ball across the Bronco 40-yard line out to the 43. And a marker down at the line and a holding call against Denver.
I think it's going to be on Ken Lanier. That's one thing about this Los Angeles Raider defensive line, Don. Great deal of conversation about sacks, but they also draw penalties.
Holding 76, 10 yards, still first down.
That is Ken Lanier. Actually, though, I don't think coaches mind that so much. As big a part of the franchise as John Elway is, you can't turn someone like Piquel or Howie Long or Sean Jones just flat loose on John Elway.
Raiders trailing 7-0. The Raiders have won their last 4 regular season openers. Now Elway on 1st and forever. He's got 1st and 30. Swing pass to Wilhite. He'll get some. Out to the 30. And it's going to bring up 2nd down and about 22. Rod Martin came across to make the stop on Gerald Wilhite. On the opening series, the Broncos went down the field behind the passing of John Elway. First play from scrimmage, he hit Vance Johnson for 21 yards. Subsequently, threw into the end zone from 35 yards out. Touchdown to Watson. And it's a 7-0 game, Denver.
All they've done is throw the ball, though. Eventually, they're going to have to run to control the line of scrimmage here.
Sean Jones left a little early.
I told you those guys in the striped shirts they're going to be a godsend today.
These guys don't like each other. There's no pretense about that.
None whatsoever. Of course, it's a plus, too, that they know each other so well.
False start. Number 63, 5 yards.
That's Cooper.
We might not be done here after 4 quarters of play. The last 3 meetings of Denver and the Raiders has gone to overtime. Chris Barr ended both games last year with field goals. Victories for Los Angeles.
That's Rulon Jones on the sideline. He got hit in the ribs, and he's putting on a rib cage cover. Everybody wants to play in this game.
2nd and 29 with the ball's position now for Denver. Broncos lead first quarter 7-0. Pitch to Sewell. Again, good Raider defense. Linebacker Jeff Barnes, 56, came across and made the stop along with Sam Seal. Now let's take a look. The Cleveland Browns are closing things up at Soldier Field in Chicago. Time left, and they're very close to the world champion Bears. And finals in, we'll be updating all the scores every 10 minutes. The 10-minute ticker on NBC Sports. 10 minutes to play and the clock running in the first quarter here at Mile High Stadium in Denver. Watson, who caught the touchdown pass, now goes wide to the left. Vance Johnson's at the top of your screen in the slot to the left. Elway takes a look. Bang! John Elway hit hard. Sean Jones, Howie Long come thumping in along with Piquel, the nose tackle. Raiders, as they say, don't rush the quarterback, they attack him.
The thing they like too is you got everybody singled up there on the offensive line. Watch 71 Piquel, a good move by Cooper, and through Brian he actually beats two guys and gets a good solid hit on John Elway. That's one of the things that has always been a trademark of the Raiders. Attack the pocket, as you said.
Now Napoleon McCallum is back at his 35. Jack Wheel, there's McCallum ready to punt the ball for Denver. Free agent from Wyoming. Good punt by Wheel. McCallum waits at his 35. Here he comes. To the 40. To the 45, and he's cut down there. Napoleon McCallum with a 9-yard return after a 47-yard punt. Denver continues to lead 7-0. Now to NFL 86. Here's Bob Costas.
All right, Don, let's check the debut of Jim Kelly. Not a bad start. He takes the Bills in their first possession, 53 yards in 9 plays, caps it off with a 1-yarder to Greg Bell for the touchdown. And on the drive, Mr. Kelly was 3 for 3. Back to Don and Trump.
So Jim Kelly, his impact being felt quickly in Buffalo. There's been some upsets today, more to follow in, no doubt, as right now the Raiders trailing 7-0 go first and 10. Marcus hasn't had the ball yet. Free ball, good defense coming up to make the play. Mike Harden was converged. Free safety Steve Foley was also on the play as Wilson was going to Jesse Hester.
And I tell you, one of the things that the Raiders are going to have to contend with all day long is just simply identifying who is on the defensive line of scrimmage. On that particular snap, Broncos had 5 guys down. 1 dropped out. Mecklenburg, who was lined up as a linebacker, blitzed. There it is.
They did 12 times last year, but the Raiders have not won a postseason game since after the '83 season. And that proud tradition is smarting from consecutive losses the past 2 years in the opening playoff game. Wilson throws. Hester can't hold it at the 47-yard line. One interesting aspect of the Raiders, Trump, is the veterans they cut. About 11 or 12 veterans either retired or were waived, and Raiders were pointing out that there's 125 years of experience that left the team. They've gone with a lot younger people. Al Davis said before the game, I don't know if we're ready yet this early to come into Denver, but we have to be.
Those names, Cliff Branch, Lyle Alzado, Dave Dalby, all veterans, all leaders. There's a veteran too, Jim Plunkett, standing right behind Tom Flores. Wilson's not had much time so far in this first quarter. 1, 2, 3, 4. Another 7 defensive back set, Don.
Wilson stands in, throws, and it looks completed to Hester. No, they ruled he did not have possession of the ball. And so the Raiders again go 3 downs and out on offense, and they'll have to punt the ball.
They've given him a different look on every single snap. Now watch Wilson look around the field. He's looking to his right, to his left, across the middle. I got to throw underneath, he says. 49, Dennis Smith making the tackle, playing this game with a broken collarbone. I want him in my foxhole. I do. I really do.
He actually does have a fractured bone in his shoulder. It's not the clavicle. It's up a smaller bone, but still it's a broken bone. He's playing with it. Ray Guy hits a long punt downfield. Will Height will take the ball at his 12. Free ball. I don't know. Raiders had it for a moment. Looked like Denver. The Raiders come up with the ball. So the first turnover goes to Los Angeles. 16-yard return, but an empty basket when he got there. And so Stephon Adams coming up with the ball, and the Raiders go on offense in the Denver end.
Last week, Broncos had all kinds of turnovers. Last year, they had just 8 fumbles lost, which led the NFL. That was a pretty strong hit, but Stephon Adams underneath the pile there, able to get his hands on it. And now Raiders with great field position here. Let's see if we see Marcus Allen here in this series.
Marcus Allen, first carry, and Marcus Allen fighting hard, gets inside the 25-yard line.
This is one guy the Denver Broncos have to stop. In 2 games last year, gained over 300 yards. That's key on Carl Mecklenburg, 77, overruns the play a little bit. Good block by Kurt Marsh. And Allen, even though he's tall and lanky, a very powerful running back. Here's Mr. Mecklenburg, who will play anywhere but strong safety and weak safety for the Denver Broncos.
Raiders trailing 7-0 first quarter, but now trying to capitalize after the fumble recovery, and Marcus Allen turns the corner. Free ball. Raiders get it. Got about 4 extra yards as Allen was hit hard from behind, but Mike Harden couldn't get to the ball before it went out.
Now we got a rule change. And the rule change will be that the ball goes back to the spot where Marcus Allen fumbled it. It used to be that you could gain yards on the fumble, but this goes back. Hundley misses the tackle. That's Foley making the hit. Hundley on the cleanup. At the point where he fumbles it, that's where the ball is placed. 3rd down and about 4, maybe 5. Rule change in the NFL this year.
So now 3rd down comes up. Mark Wilson has thrown the ball 4 times. He has yet to complete a pass. 7:53 to go first quarter. Hawkins and Allen, the setbacks for the Raiders. Marcus Allen heading for the end zone. He's going in. 24 yards and a touchdown as the Raiders come back quickly. Get the fumble recovery and go in. Wilson's first completion for a touchdown.
The coverage was by Mecklenburg, and as gifted an athlete as Carl Mecklenburg is, he can't keep up with Marcus Allen. He just can't. Allen ran a very simple pattern out of the offensive backfield. Just a circle route. Made a good move to the outside. Mecklenburg couldn't keep up. Hey, what a great athlete this kid is. He's now scored 59 career touchdowns in 58 career NFL games.
Coming off an MVP season, the Football Writers voted him the Player of the Year as he rushed for almost 1,800 yards.
We'll watch this from behind the defense. Allen will come from the left of the picture. There's Christensen, 46, clearing out. Look at the distance. Just an excellent move by Marcus Allen. And into the end zone.
Allen, a much better conditioned athlete even than a season ago with his new off-season conditioning program. He's involved in the martial arts. Feels it's made him stronger, quicker, more flexible.
Let's see if we can see the move. No, it's going to be to the right of the picture. You can't really see the move he puts on Mecklenburg. But when you run a 5-yard pattern and you got a 3-yard cushion, you know you laid a good move on the guy.
So Wilson to Marcus Allen takes a lot of the enthusiasm out of sold-out Mile High Stadium, a stadium that incidentally is now beginning its 17th consecutive year of sellouts. Dan Reeves, the winningest coach in Bronco history in his 6th season as the head man at Denver. I asked him before the game how he felt about so many people picking Denver as the team that's going to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. Well, he said, we are a good team. He said, I don't know if we're that good. He said, we didn't even win a division last year, but they did come just 1 game away.
Well, they are playing in the toughest division in the NFL. Collectively, the teams in the AFC West last year, 43-35. And none of the teams in the AFC West this year have easy schedules.
Now they've got to go and play a lot of NFC East teams. Elway is 5 of 6 throwing the ball for 71 yards and a touchdown. Gene Lang, they've ticked away from Vance Johnson, but Lang does nicely, and there's also a penalty marker down at the Raider end. Somebody might have been across the line early before the ball was hit. Trey Junkin is the man who came down to make the tackle, but in all probability, if it's against the Broncos or against the Raiders, Denver will take the ball where they got it.
Sure. My philosophy is always make them run that 40 or 45 or 50-yard sprint again. Take your chances. Tire them out a little bit. Most teams now.
Offside on the kickoff. Number 94. Free kick, 5 yards.
Now the 10-minute ticker, a look at the scoreboard on opening day 1986.
Your attention, please. John
It just ended. Chicago Bears beat the Cleveland Browns in an unusually high-scoring game for a strong defensive team. Both are really good defensively. Games in progress. The Jets have come back to tie up Buffalo. This game, of course, tied. San Diego out in front 10-0 over the Dolphins. New England with a 3-0 lead on the Colts. Kansas City out to a 7-0 advantage on the Bengals, and the Steelers, and Seattle scoreless at the Kingdome.
And as I was mentioning, you always make them kick the ball off again, mainly because you might find some guys who are starting on the defense who, after 2 50-yard sprints, and you try to run a pattern against those guys. So if you can get them winded a little bit, because this is the visiting team up in this altitude, I don't think physically it makes much difference, but psychologically it might. It's a slight advantage, but in a game where two teams are so close, it might make the difference.
Headed to the big winners here. Denver with 24 wins the last 2 seasons. They were 13-3 2 years ago, then 11-5, and the Raiders, of course, are coming in as defending AFC West champions. Hard hit ball by Chris Barr. Held down the ball in the end zone, and the Broncos will now start from their 20 in this tie game 7-7 with 7:15 to play in the first quarter. John Elway off to a hot start. He's been throwing the ball very well. 5 of 6, good for 71 yards and a touchdown. He was sacked very hard, though, once in the first quarter. Bounced right up. John Elway, not without injury problems. He's had arthroscopic knee surgery after the past 2 seasons, but very minor surgery, and he might be the best running quarterback in the National Football League. He led the AFC quarterbacks in rushing a year ago. This is the first run of the game for the Denver Broncos. They've been all passes, and Gerald Wilhite takes it out to the 26-yard line. He got 6. Matt Millen and Van McElroy knocked him down.
You'll see the Denver Broncos do an awful lot of changing of personnel offensively. It seems that when Sewell and with Wilhite come into the ball game.
We'd like to welcome all of you who've been watching the Chicago Bears and the Cleveland Browns in that high-scoring game at Soldier Field. This is Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy at Mile High Stadium in Denver. Well, the Broncos scored first in a 35-yard touchdown pass by Elway, but the Raiders came right back. Marcus Allen on the receiving end of a touchdown throw. It's a 7-7 game in the first quarter. Elway throwing long for Wilhite. Intercepted by Mark Haynes. So Mike Haynes, the guy who's been to the Pro Bowl 8 of his 10 years, now they really was out of bounds, did not have possession of the ball.
Oh, that's a chancy play to take. This early in the ball game, you throw it back across the field. Wilhite was open, but Haynes was not fooled. Same roll right. It's to Wilhite all the way. That's one of the few times I think I've ever seen the Los Angeles Raiders in something other than man-to-man. And that's right. Ball bobbled. Second foot did not come down. Long incompletion. 3rd and about 3.
So Elway sets in the shotgun. Watson and Vance Johnson are to the left, to the top of your screen. Wilhite coming out of the backfield, can't hold on, and now Howie Long takes a swing at a offensive lineman for the Broncos.
Long can not only
he never stopped.
He can not only beat him with the pass rush, but he can turn the phrase on him too.
Billy Bryan's been in the middle of some stuff. A very strong center for the Denver Broncos. Now the Raider defense slows the Denver passing game, and Napoleon McCallum is back again to return the punt. Standing at his 32. There's Jack Wheel ready to punt the ball for Denver. .6:24 to play in the first quarter, and the game is tied. Well hit ball by the free agent Jack Wheel. McCallum from his 22. Penalty markers down at the 35. Might have been a clip as McCallum rips one up the middle for a big gainer on the return. A 20-yard return after a 52-yard punt.
I think we're going to have a clip or a blocking in the back, an illegal push. Something along those lines against the Raiders. It'll go from the spot of the foul. I think they're going to call it on Jamie Kimmel, number 59 of the Los Angeles Raiders.
A lot of fellows on the ship cheering. The SS
Peleliu.
3,000 men on that ship.
Block. Number
Not a
59
boat.
on the return. 10 yards. First down.
Not a floor either, right?
No, it's a deck.
Former Navy man Bob Trumpy. We'll be back with the score tied 7-7.
This Bud's for all that you do.
They said this city was through. You said, no way.
Each day the spirit's growing. Your pride is really showing. You make America work, and this Bud's for you.
Here's to you. Beechwood Aged for that clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
This Bud's for you.
Welcome to the auto show.
We need an inexpensive,
Dependable.
first car. See the Yugo.
I need a tough little car.
See the Yugo. We need a safe,
Economical
second car. Oh, see the Yugo.
For most of the reasons you need a car, the Yugo is all the car you need.
Wow, $39.90.
Maybe you don't want to spend more than $39.90 for a new car, but until now you've had to. Everybody needs a Yugo sometime. Yugo, $39.90.
Starting September 1st, American Express is changing the way America shops. There's something special going on in stores across the country. A brand new service from American Express. Announcing Buyer's Assurance. It doubles the repair period of the manufacturer's warranty. Doubles it up to an extra year. All you have to do is use the American Express card. Any place in the country till the end of the year. Now, why would you shop with anything else?
Down Cricket with Bob Trumpy back at Mile High Stadium. Broncos starting fast, getting the first touchdown, a 7-0 lead. Now the Raider defense has come into play a lot more.
Don, the thing that surprised me is neither team has run the ball. I mean, the Denver Broncos, I think, have one rush. The Raiders have one rush. That was Hawkins, the first play of the game. And the rest has been throwing the ball. Both these teams, Denver has to run. The Los Angeles Raiders certainly can run, but they're going with a pass.
Raiders set to go. First down and 10 at the 25-yard line. Swing. Marcus Allen in open field. And he gets to the 31-yard line. Last time he had the ball, you remember, he finished the play, a 24-yarder, all told, into the end zone for the tying touchdown.
Jim Ryan made the tackle, but you're going to see 52 Ken Woodard just to the right of your screen drop out. You see him right there in front of you? He's got the coverage on Marcus Allen. He drops way off there. That allows Wilson the opportunity to get the ball to Marcus Allen, and a 2-yard completion to Marcus Allen, he can turn into a 70-yard gain. Woodard's got to stay tighter than that.
Marcus Allen in his 5th year, the former Heisman Trophy winner from Southern California. Now he's starting to get a lot of work, and Allen dives across the 30. Had a career game in one of the wins over the Broncos last season when he gained 173 yards and had a 61-yard touchdown run in that game. A reminder to our viewers that we'll be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player for today's game at the conclusion of the game. .4:59 to play. Clock running first quarter. Denver 7. Los Angeles Raiders 7. Don Mospar in for the now retired Dave Dalby at center. A huge end-to-end offensive line of the Los Angeles Raiders, and now there's a timeout called for, so we'll be back after Mark Wilson gets some counsel.
You're looking at the fastest-selling European import in its introductory year. You're looking at a car with performance features like front-wheel drive and rack and pinion steering. You're looking at a car that's comfortable and fun to drive. You're looking at a car that costs $39.90. You're looking at a Yugo. For a closer look, call 1-800-USA-YUGO for the dealer nearest you. Yugo, $39.90.
Aha. There's a thief in this attic. This skimpy amount of insulation can rob you blind on your fuel bill.
Fight back with the attic blanket from Owens Corning. It's the thickest, most powerful roll of pink insulation you can add. It can help you save money on your fuel bill.
It is an open and shut case.
Owens Corning. We put your house in the pink.
You might be able to make it on your old antifreeze another year, but then again, you just might find yourself left out in the cold. Driving just 10,000 miles on weak, neglected antifreeze can cause freeze-up and make a radiator look this bad, while the Prestone radiator looks this good. So, for maximum protection, don't push your luck. Change it once a year, every year, with fresh Prestone.
An American tradition continues. In 1978, it was dubbed the modern-day shot heard round the world. Bucky Dent's three-run homer helped clinch one of baseball's greatest comeback seasons. Next Saturday, the intense rivalry continues as the Yankees host the Red Sox or the Reds meet the Dodgers. The tradition is here. The memories are waiting.
A check of the 10-minute ticker shows the Chargers are out quickly at San Diego Jack Murphy Stadium with a surprising 17-0 lead over the favored Miami Dolphins. Dolphins win as a slight favorite of that game. The rest of the scoreboard will be updating all the scores every 10 minutes on NBC Sports. Right now, with the Raiders and the Broncos tied at 7-7, here's a third down throw by Wilson. Man is open. Dokie Williams, the sprinter from UCLA. They get him before he goes the distance, but Dokie Williams has the Raiders down close again. 54 yards, a straight fly, just beat the corner.
Don, we'll watch on the telestrator what happens here. Let's identify some people. You got Williams coming in motion. Look at the defensive backs that you can see. 1, 2, 3, and it's a total zone. What happens is Williams comes in here in motion and then back outside, and he gets lost in the shuffle. He's wide open for Mark Wilson to find him down the field. Watch what happens. There you see Williams. Now he goes back outside. He's lost. It looks like Dennis Smith got scraped off. He had the coverage. Big play, Los Angeles Raiders.
So the Raiders with a 54-yard gainer. Now down as Mark Wilson has to get it away. He does, and it's caught by Christensen, and he's in. And the Raiders take the lead 13-7. Todd Christensen, the all-pro tight end who has caught 80 or more passes the last 3 years, makes his first reception of 86, a big one. And the Raiders down at the outset 7-0 now, look for a 14-7 lead. The extra point coming up.
Does a great job from behind the offense. There's Rick Hundley, 98, trying to reach for it. Christensen grabs that ball. That's a good hard hit by Louis Wright, but Christensen able to get in the end zone. Big play again by the Raiders. That's 2 big plays in a row, and they're on the board.
Here's Chris Barr out now to try the point after for Los Angeles. It's on the way and good. And so with 4:29 to go in the first quarter, the proud Raiders come back quickly after trailing 7-0. They have a 14-7 lead. Raider kickoff in a moment.
Everybody needs a Yugo sometime.
I bought my Yugo because now I can afford a brand new car.
I think it's fun to drive, and it beats my old car pool.
I like the rack and pinion steering and the front wheel drive.
We wanted a dependable second car.
And this Yugo's just what we need.
See the car you need at the price you want. $39.90. Call 1-800-USA-YUGO for the dealer nearest you.
Everybody needs a Yugo sometime.
Yugo, $39.90.
When you need tools, any kind of tools, for every kind of job, one place and one name give you more good choices than anywhere else. Sears and Craftsman.
There's more for your life at Sears.
Life is full of changes, and State Farm is there.
I'm State Farm Agent George Palmy. If your family's like mine, you'll find reminders of how fast things change. Wasn't so long ago, my daughter Jill was riding in this. Now she drives this. Look around you. If you see your insurance needs have changed, auto, home, life, or health, see your State Farm agent for a family insurance checkup. The advice is free.
And like a good neighbor,
And the decisions are yours.
State Farm is there.
The world
world's athletes are gathering in Rome. The IAAF Grand Prix final. If it's special, it's on NBC Sports.
The much maligned Mark Wilson on target, and here's his second touchdown throw of the day.
Don, the reason this works, I don't think 5 times in Mark Wilson's Los Angeles Raider career has he rolled out. It surprised the Denver Bronco defense a great deal. Christensen was wide open in the end zone. It's an easy score for the Raiders.
Used all 223 pounds, did Todd Christensen, to break the final crust. As Wilson pleased at the start. And well, he should be after the Raiders fell behind 7-0. Now Barr will kick off. They've been kicking it away from the sprinter, Vance Johnson. Now they're kicking it to the near side. They switch return men. And again, it goes to Gene Lang, though, because Barr looked at him and right to him. There's a big league stick by Strahan, the running back from Boston College, down on special teams to stuff Gene Lang, and a penalty marker down.
This Denver Bronco team is not a team with a lot of rookies. Kind of surprising we've had that many penalties on both ball clubs of leaving early on a punt, offsides on a kickoff, and illegal blocks behind the back.
Illegal block, number 88, half the distance to the goal line, first down.
It's interesting, when the Denver Broncos have beaten the Raiders, they've had some success running the ball. They've got to establish some run because Elway's passing has been slowed since the beginning drive. When he went right through Los Angeles last year, passing was 2/3 of the Denver offense. No backs in the regular season got 100 yards against the Raiders. They're tough to run against. But Denver's going to have to start getting some. Now they try with Sammy Winder. He gets nothing. Shut down at the 10.
Interesting choice. Call a draw play on 1st and 10 at their own 10-yard line. Sean Jones makes the tackle. Howie Long comes up with the football. See, they set up for a draw, apparently thinking because they pass so much that the Los Angeles Raiders are going to think pass all the way. What's going to happen, Don, is if they don't begin to run the ball effectively, the Raiders are going to line up 9 guys at the line of scrimmage and dare you to throw the football.
Right. They got big people up front now. Townsend's in the game to pass rush. No, it's 4 down linemen. Cornerbacks up tight. Here's Elway with a sprint out. Loops the ball. And it's tipped away. Nicely done by Townsend, the defensive end, 93. Got a finger on the ball. And so the Broncos, who started fast, now find themselves in trouble with 3rd down and 9 coming up. They don't convert here. They're going to give the Raiders field position on a punt.
And with 65 sacks last year by the Los Angeles Raiders, if you're Dan Reeves, you don't want your team in an awful lot of 3rd down and 9 situations.
Rulon Jones, the fine defensive end, the Pro Bowler for the Denver Broncos, has been taken to the locker room for x-rays. Banged up some ribs early in the game. 3:31 to play in the first quarter. It's 14-7 Raiders.
That's on the offense. That's Mark Cooper, number 63.
A new starter in for the veteran Paul Howard at right guard.
He's across from Pical, who led the Raiders in sacks last year. All he's trying for is just a little edge, but from an up position, that's almost senseless. I mean, you're right where you want to start pass protection. There's no reason to break out.
Raiders pin those ears back, and here they come, snorting fire. 3rd down and 14, and Elway will be throwing from his end zone, if he can.
Whoa. That's a safety.
Yep, safety it is.
There's no way Elway can win that. He either steps on the back line, or if he has an intentional grounding to avoid a sack. Both are safeties. 2 points. 2 points, Raiders. And the Broncos, watch the move on 63. Watch Long. Throws, absolutely throws Mark Cooper out of the way. Townsend there too. It's not working for the Denver Broncos.
America, this is the big one from General Motors. The big one with 2.9 annual percentage rate GMAC financing. That's 2.9 on all new 1986 GM cars and most light-duty trucks. Like the finance contract is limited, or choose rebates up to $1,500 depending on make or model. We're out to move over 1 million vehicles. Act now. The big one from General Motors ends October 8th. This is the one you've been waiting for.
Hey, Pete. Going to town with us?
Ah, go ahead. Looks like you had a little trouble.
Oh, we can take care of it.
A day off is something real special, but so's a good neighbor.
Going into town with us, Pete?
Push. Head for the beer brewed natural as a mountain stream, for a taste as smooth as its name. Push.
Head for Bush Beer. Head for the mountains.
To know no boundaries, to let yourself run free. To know no boundaries is what the world should be.
Wherever there are investment opportunities, Merrill Lynch is there, with the help you need to make the most of them. Because at Merrill Lynch, we believe your world should know no boundaries.
To know no boundaries.
Giving your best effort every time is the mark of a true champion. Don't let anything stop you from becoming the best that you can be. Say no to drugs and yes to a whole lot more.
From behind the defense, Townsend out here makes the sack, folks, but watch this body slam. This is Howie Long on Mark Cooper. Watch this arm. Ooh, get out of here. Right in Elway's face. And here's the ruling. Either steps on the back line, if so, that's a safety. And intentionally grounding the ball in the end zone is also a safety. 2 points for the Raiders, and Denver must punt.
So it was a stadium in celebration early in this game after the Broncos scored the first time they had the ball has now become deafening in its silence as the Raiders have come back to take a 16-7 lead. The Broncos unable to run against Los Angeles, and the Raider pass rush has begun to dominate this game. Napoleon McCallum, the rookie from the Naval Academy, ready to return the kickoff. The free kick. Jack Wheel, the punter's in. You have the option of placing the ball or punting it on the free kick after a safety. And here's the well-hit ball downfield to the 15-yard line. McCallum, he's big, takes on tacklers, and gets to the 38-yard line. As we look at the scoreboard on the 10-minute ticker. Jets and Buffalo still tied. Marino's just thrown a touchdown pass. Miami gets a first score after trailing 17-0 at San Diego. New England starting fast. Siason just threw a touchdown pass to Collinsworth for the Bengals. They've tied Kansas City. Pittsburgh and Seattle hitting people and not scoring at the Kingdome. Mark Wilson with 2 touchdown plays for the Raiders comes out. The Denver fans start up. Marcus Allen runs ahead for 6 yards. He gets out to the 43-yard line. Art McNally, the head of NFL officials, is here, and the official call on the safety from down on the field was that John Elway's foot hit the back line. An automatic safety. It was not intentional grounding. Either way, it was 2 points for the Raiders in the subsequent free kick possession. Now they have the ball, second down and about 4. Mecklenburg gets to the quarterback, but just a moment late. The referee, Jim Tunney, right on top of quarterback Mark Wilson. The #1 assignment of a National Football League referee, no matter what else you hear, is to protect the quarterback. That is his #1 assignment.
You see 77 Carl Mecklenburg lines up in a variety of positions. That time a stand-up pass rusher. Last year, Joe Collier was just drawing in the dirt, things for Mecklenburg to do. This summer in training camp, they designed a whole series of things for him to do. You'll find him everywhere on that defensive line.
Now the Raiders go third down and just under 5 for the first down. They lead 16-7 late in the first quarter. Throw and a strike. Todd Christensen's ahead for a Raider first down to the 44-yard line of Denver. 12-yard gain. Christensen, who the last 3 years has caught 82, 80, and 92 passes. You see his average. Gets ahead for first. He hand fights those defensive backs and gets rid of them.
He wanted to make sure you knew how much he weighed, too, didn't he?
Yeah, we said he weighed 245 last year. He said that was because of the rib pads. I looked like I weighed 245.
Weighs 223 and is a downfield receiver. That big body, when he turns around, those two defensive backs in zone coverage couldn't go over him without interference. Easy 12-yard pickup.
First down, Raiders inside the 45-yard line of the Broncos. Marcus Allen breaks the crust and rockets down to the 33-yard line. He gets 11 and a first down for the Raiders.
Todd Christensen almost made the tackle there. New player for the Denver Broncos defense, 98, Rick Hundley. You see him going there. Christensen gets a block on him, but watch what happens. Christensen almost puts Marcus Allen to the ground. Hundley there, not a plus on the play. That has to be graded a minus by Joe Collier.
Henry Lawrence, the right tackle. Mickey Marvin, the right guard. Don Mostar, the center, blowing people out. Raiders winning at the line of scrimmage on offense. Allen. Bronco defense comes up to shut him down at the 31-yard line.
Don, you notice that the Los Angeles Raiders, when they run behind Marvin and Lawrence to the right, and they're running at Carter, 68, 75 Rulon Jones, and 98 Rick Hundley. I don't blame them for running behind Marvin and Lawrence. I'm kind of surprised that Rulon Jones and Hundley have not done a better job stopping the run.
Tied with Peyton, 9 straight regular season games, 100 or more yards. He's going for a 10th today. Big rush, long ball. Good coverage by the Denver Broncos. Louis Wright, 5 times a Pro Bowler, trying to cover and doing it well against Dokie Williams. Walking the dog, they call it. Step for step by Witham.
Denver that time with the blitz. Allen, most valuable player in the league last year. All those rushing yards. Put on a spectacular block on Carl Mecklenburg that time. But he can certainly do his job, whether it's run, catch, or block.
This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Denver Broncos and the National Football League is prohibited. 21 seconds to go, first quarter. Marcus Allen again hits off the right side. And again, his offensive line gives him the thrust he needs to get ahead for yards, and it brings up now 4th down and about 4.
Number 46 for the Los Angeles Raiders, Todd Christensen, primarily a pass receiver, but when asked to, can get the job done blocking. Basically, all you got to do is get in their way. And Christensen done a pretty good job as the first quarter ends.
Mark Wilson, after missing his first 4 throws, hit his next 4, 2 for touchdowns. The following is sponsored by the U.S. Army.
No words could repair this running back's shattered knee.
Please don't give me your words of wisdom or your advice about what I should do, what I shouldn't do.
The Achievers, those who face adversity and refuse to fail. Brought to you by the U.S. Army. When Kurt Warner's knee exploded, many thought he was through. But months of agonizing therapy has Kurt Warner back in all-pro form.
It's not going to be easy. There are going to be days when you're not going to feel like doing it. There are going to be days when you don't want to do it. And I decided to work. I think that's the most important thing.
Hey, that was a great answer. Where'd you learn about computers?
In the Army.
You were in the Army?
Yeah.
And now they're helping pay your way through college.
How come you know so much?
How do you think I got here?
Qualify for the GI Bill and the Army College Fund and earn $17,000 for college for only a 2-year enlistment, or $25,200 for a 4-year enlistment.
What you doing here?
Airborne.
You were airborne?
Find your future in the Army.
You used to jump out of airplanes?
Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy back at Mile High Stadium. First quarter stats, the Denver Broncos with just 7 yards rushing. Bottom line numbers, though, a dominance for the Raiders after they fell behind 7-0. They now lead this game 16-7. Now we have a moment. Let's go to NFL 86 in New York. Bob?
Don, San Diego jumped in front of Miami 17-0 at the end of 1 in San Diego. Then Dan Marino got it going. He fires this one 22 yards to Mark Clayton for the touchdown. So the Dolphins are back in business. They trail by 10 in the second.
Thank you, Bob. As right now we have a 16-7 count on the board at the outset of the second quarter here at the Mile High Stadium in Denver, Colorado. 121 consecutive sellouts. Chris Barr ready to kick the ball, try the long field goal. It'll be a 43-yarder. Did not have good success long range last season, but he wins a lot of games when it comes down to the final kick. This time he drills it, puts the hook on it just right. Just like the Raiders like it, and they extend their lead to 19-7. We'll be back with the Los Angeles kickoff after this.
Here they lie, the family sedans of the past. Bulky, boxy, portraits in obsolescence. But one performance sedan has refused to join these relics. The Dodge Lancer. Sleek lines, advanced interior, front-wheel drive, all at an affordable price. The Lancer is making history instead of becoming part of it. Dodge setting new standards of performance.
America rides Monroe. America rides Monroe. On the road, the way to go. America rides Monroe.
More people ride Monroe shocks and struts than any other brand. And right now, get up to $20 in rebates. Get $2 back on each Monroe Matic Plus. And $5 back on each Gas Magnum or Gas Matic. They'll give you the best ride ever, guaranteed.
On the road, the way to go. America rides Monroe.
Thank you for calling Barb's.
I need my VCR fixed.
Please direct any service questions directly to our distributor in Indonesia.
Got any trees?
With many audio and video products, good luck finding good service. But at Curtis Mathis Home Entertainment Centers, we promise you quick response and dependable service. You see, our terrific audio and video products aren't the only reasons it's worth coming to Curtis Mathis. Curtis Mathis, is it really worth it to go anywhere else?
Today's game is brought to you by America's Best Back Trucks. At Dodge, we don't just talk tough, we prove it. By Radio Shack, a division of the Tandy Corporation. And by Wheaties, 100% whole wheat for energy to feel like a champion. Wheaties, what the big boys eat.
Big boys from Los Angeles have been getting it done. They have scored on their last 3 possessions plus a safety. The Raiders leading 19-7. As we look at the 10-minute ticker, Jets and Buffalo still tied. San Diego continues to hold to a 10-point lead on Miami. New England now the 10-3 lead over Indianapolis. Colts get a field goal. And the other 2 scores have not changed since our last ticker look. Right now, Chris Barr hits a high spinning kickoff downfield. Here comes Vance Johnson. He finally gets a kickoff. The super fast Denver Bronco crosses the 20. Dives out to the 22-yard line. Running back at University of Arizona, drafted in the 2nd round a season ago.
On the last replay we showed was Mark Cooper being manhandled by Howie Long. Now Paul Howard, number 60, is in at right guard for the Denver Broncos.
Big boys from California not giving up a thing on defense, and Elway has to find a way to get the big play. They're going with a 1-back set. They're going to be throwing. Raiders coming up to meet it. Linebackers up tight. Elway gets time, swings it out to Sammy Winder. Loses Mike Haynes for the moment, and Winder gets ahead for maybe 7 yards. I don't know if you can just drop back every time and beat the Raiders when you're this far behind.
I don't believe you can. Well, let's watch the protection. Paul Howard, the veteran on that offensive line. He does a good job handling Howie Long. I have a feeling he's going to be in there for the rest of the day. His uniform is going to get dirty.
Raider defensive front 3. Longs from Villanova. They dropped football recently, picked it up again. Piquel's from Rutgers. Jones is from Northeastern. Not big-name football schools, but super big-name players. Here's a long ball downfield. A man goes down going for the ball. Going for the ball was the tight end Clarence Kay, but there's no penalty marker down.
Stacy Turan was the man in coverage. They got their feet tangled up. In case you're wondering if the replay official will handle that, the answer is no. They'll have nothing to do with it. There's nothing called by the officials. The replay official will not get involved. And of course, if both players are looking back at the quarterback, that's that rule change from last year. You do have a lot more what they refer to in the NFL as incidental contact. There it is.
Elway needs 3. Lead swing, well thrown ball to Wilhite. He's got the first down and 20 more as he crosses midfield and gets to the 49-yard line of Los Angeles. 21-yard gain, a big block by center Billy Bryan.
Van McElroy finally makes the tackle. Don, what the Broncos are doing is just using their running backs. You saw Wilhite there start right, come back left. Bryan does make an excellent block. Wilhite carrying that ball rather dangerously. But 21 yards and a first down.
So the Broncos finally break a big play. They've not had one in some time, trailing 19-7 early in the second quarter. Pitch back to Winder on first down. He runs hard and gets 4. Down to the 45-yard line. Sean Jones knocked him down. A humongous defensive end at 6'7", 280. In just his 3rd year.
This young man, you got to give him a tip of the cap. Last year he gained 700 yards rushing while having an arthroscope on his knee and an appendectomy. And we know that with Dennis Smith playing with a broken collarbone today, and Sammy Winder coming back and contributing to the Broncos last year, Broncos got some tough kids out there.
They better today. Now it's 2nd down and 6 for the Broncos.
Pass.
Sewell takes a look. Turns the corner on Turan, who gets him and gets ahead for maybe a yard or 2. And now a penalty marker comes in after the play. Might be a late hit.
Reggie McKenzie. Yeah, it looked to me like Sewell was going to throw that ball.
To me too, yeah.
When he took it,
he can throw it.
It's against the Raiders. Late hit.
Tom Flores looking on.
Watch when he gets this ball on the pitch. He's looking upfield.
Like a clip too on
personal foul, unnecessary.
Rod Martin was taken out.
54, 15 yards.
But the call goes against the Raiders down to the 28-yard line. Denver needs a score here. They'll be right back in it. They're down 19-7 at the moment.
Penalty on Reggie McKenzie, late hit. Officials trying to keep control of this football game.
A well-spent 11th round draft choice a year ago, Reggie McKenzie. Raiders are going to lose their top 2 picks this year for the season. Kowski and Cochran both with back problems, need surgery. Winder. Jerry Robinson hems him in, and then Rod Martin finishes him off. Veteran from UCLA, Jerry Robinson coming from the left outside, Rod Martin from Southern California from the right outside, and they close him down for a loss.
Along with that stat, something you said earlier, Don, the Raiders did not allow any running back to gain 100 yards rushing last year. That's a heck of an accomplishment.
Greg James
regular season. That's a heck of an accomplishment.
It is unseasonably cool in the Mile High City. Temperature in the 50s today, and now there seems to be a distinct threat of rain. It's become an overcast day. As the Broncos come up with 2nd down, and John Elway's right arm has to get him 17 here. Or some of that anyway. Elway eludes the rush, gets the ball away to Johnson. Tries to put on a hook move, and he's cut down at the 23-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd and about 7. Elway's quick feet saved him from the pass rush, and then Vance Johnson got the ball.
Does an excellent job of getting away from Sammy Seal. Once again, he uses that move, and you can see these receivers, when John Elway rolls left, the receivers go with him. Something that all coaches teach receivers, so that there is someone for the quarterback to throw to. Elway did an excellent job of avoiding the rush on that particular play too. Craig Townsend was all over him.
Vance Johnson to the near side, lower portion of your screen on this 3rd and 6 play. He's against Mike Haynes. To Sewell, he's looking to throw. Elway's going out. Elway's got it. John Elway heading for the end zone. Touchdown Denver. What a play. We'll see that again and again.
He's thrown a lot. This is the first time he's ever caught one in the NFL. think so. Not particularly well thrown by Sewell. Don, the point to make is, though, it's 6 points, but that's a trick play. You only got about 4 of those a game in the book. You can't come with many more.
Worked just like they drew it up, and here's the extra point by Carlos, and the Broncos are back in the game. It's 19-14 with 11:57 to play in the first half. That's happening at Denver, and we'll be back.
You're about to go down a road you've never been down before. Behind the wheel of a truck you've never seen. It's new from Dodge. It's called Dakota. Claiming the ground between the heart of a full-size and the soul of a compact. It's the first true mid-size pickup ever made. With an available 3.9-liter V6, there's plenty of thunder under the hood. Inside, room for 3. Outside, an optional 8-foot bed carries a full-size load. The new mid-size Dakota. Climb aboard. Cross into Dakota territory. Dodge Dakota. The new state of the American truck.
Managing information means storing it, finding it, and moving it from A to B. When that meant linking 800 miles of Alaskan pipeline, they called Contel. When it meant matching orders to inventory at the Stoneham Lumber Company, they called Contel. Small business or tall order, Contel can help you manage information better, too. For Contel, I'm Charlton Heston.
Next Sunday, the NFL plays here when the Raiders battle the Redskins.
Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL 86.
The Broncos just went deep into their bag of tricks and came up with a winner.
Well, trick plays do 2 things for you. 1, they win you games. 2, they get you back into games. Look at the guy in coverage. 99, Sean Jones, a defensive end. But you got to establish something. That's the last page of the playbook.
As we look at the 10-minute ticker, San Diego gets another touchdown against Miami. And Seattle's on the board at the Kingdom with a 6-0 lead on the Steelers. Now Rich Carlos ready to kick it off. Hits a high spinning kick. Stephon Adams will run it back. Oh, he gets hit and hard. Coming downfield to stick him was Ken Woodard, linebacker. And the Raiders go on offense. Their once 19-7 lead now cut to 5. Here are the finals from earlier. Chicago Bears in a shootout with the Cleveland Browns at Soldier Field. Bears a winner. Buddy Ryan's debut for Philadelphia, not a happy one at Washington. Houston, an underdog, blew out the Packers at Green Bay. And Detroit upset the Vikings at Minneapolis. The Foot Thunder starts again. A couple of more finals. Atlanta, an upset winner at New Orleans, and the 49ers took apart the Buccaneers.
Broncos defense thinking turnover right here, Don. Thinking turnover.
Tough to call signals. Intense noise as the handoff goes to Marcus Allen. He breaks free for the moment. And that is knocked down after a gain of a couple of yards. The trick play with Sewell throwing to Elway for the touchdown has brought back to life to the Denver fans.
Watch 77. Carl Mecklenburg gets turned by Christensen. Whoops, who's that? Oh, that's the ball carrier. Dennis Smith on the assist. Historically, the Denver Broncos defense has been a big emotional establisher for this football team. Right now, knowing that the offense is struggling, they're in there looking for a turnover.
Blitz, they pick it up. Swing pass, Marcus Allen in open field. And Allen is all the way out to midfield for the Raiders. He has a first down, a 25-yard gain.
Excellent job by Mark Wilson. Saw the blitz, and at times you're going to have someone not picked up. Christensen releases. His offensive line does an outstanding job, and that's not a bad outlet receiver right there. Get it to him. That's a pass for about 5 yards and a gain of almost 30.
Barksdale, the rookie's in motion as Hawkins gets the carry, and he hits hard into the right side of the Denver defense and gets close to the Bronco 47-yard line. Our producer today for NBC Sports is George Finkel. Our director, Richard Klein. Executive producer of NBC Sports, Michael Weissman, as we're down to 10 minutes to play in the first half. The Raiders scored first on a 35-yard touchdown throw, Elway to Watson. Then the Raiders came storming back. 2 touchdown passes by Mark Wilson, a safety, and Elway stepped in the back of the end zone. It was 19-7 Los Angeles. Now it's 19-14. A throw and home. It is nearly an interception. But Mike Harden can't go on. They were going to the rookie, Rod Barksdale, who never played high school or never played college football. He was a track All-American at Arizona, wrote a letter to the Raiders, made the team after a very fine showing in the preseason.
In that letter, he mentioned his times in the 40. He was a track teammate of Vance Johnson of the Denver Broncos, and his times were, they sounded like they were all downhill. Under 4.4.
He can catch it also. They're going to be going to him deep before long. Rod Barksdale at the top of your screen. They'll be looking at him long before long. Wilson takes a look. He throws, and the ball is caught by Christensen down to the 32-yard line of the Broncos. Now Christensen coming underneath the coverage as Barksdale went deep, and so did Dokie Williams.
15-yard reception. Watch him fight his way through all this traffic. Barksdale is clearing out. Harden, the man in coverage. Excellent adjustment to the ball. Thrown behind Christensen. He and Mark Wilson been throwing and catching for a lot of years. Teammates at BYU.
So now the Raiders, after they gave up the touchdown to Denver, coming right back down the field, and they're throwing the ball very well. Mark Wilson pulling the trigger today for Los Angeles as he goes to Marcus Allen, who gets to the 28. First down carry, netted about 2 or 3. Game clock winding down to 8:50 to go in the first half. At halftime, we'll be going to NFL 86 in New York for a complete recap of the scores and the highlights of this opening day. Day with a considerable amount of upsets so far.
You watch Marcus Allen run the football. He has that ability that all great running backs do. You don't know how they do it. That time Simon Fletcher, 73, had a clear shot at Allen, hit him, didn't phase him, just kept right on running.
Wilson going deep to Dokie Williams, and the coverage is good. Louis Wright, 5 times an all-pro player at cornerback, running stride for stride with Dokie Williams. So now 3rd down and 8 arises for the Raiders at the 28-yard line of Denver. It's a 19-14 game Los Angeles, 8:18 to play in the first half.
Just saw a shot of Mark Wilson. There he is, 11-2 last year as a starting quarterback for the Los Angeles Raiders. Only 2 quarterbacks in the NFL won more games. Dan Marino of Miami, Jim McMahon of Chicago. Not really in very good graces with the Raider fans in Los Angeles, though.
Wilson doesn't like to, but he takes off. Louis Wright came up and got him on the slide, and now with the advance down to the 24-yard line, it brings up 4th down and about 4. Chris Barron, the field goal unit, comes out for Los Angeles.
Loneliest job in professional sports right there. That of a place kicker. The only guy he can sit down and talk with for a long time is a hockey goalkeeper. That's the only guy he has anything in common with.
Sometimes things work out right. The Cincinnati Bengals, your old team, cut him. Went to the Raiders. First year there, they won a Super Bowl.
They showed him, didn't they?
Again, he puts that little hook on the ball and drifts it right through. So Chris Barr's been perfect today, and the Raiders now open up a 22-14 lead, and we'll be back.
Just because you've washed your car doesn't mean you're finished. You need some Armor All on the dash, the bumper, and especially the tires. Armor All. It's the finishing touch every time you wash your car.
Leave it to the good hands, people.
With so much emphasis on youth these days, it's great that Allstate appreciates the wisdom and dignity of us mature folks. We can save 10% on Allstate homeowners insurance and save on car insurance too. But you have to be 55 and retired. So, to those youngsters who've not attained such lofty stature, a word from the wise. Nya, 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 nya.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
A member of the Sears Financial Network.
I like your thinking. It's the solution we've been searching for. Well, we've included networking, multi-user systems, as well as PC-compatible workstations and software. And I like your installation, support, training, service. Radio Shack computer centers have it all. I know we can do business.
Tandy Computers, only at Radio Shack. In business, for business.
This water damage is going to run $750. What would have stopped it?
Thompson's Water Seal protects wood, brick, and concrete with its special waterproofing formula. Thompson's Water Seal, a great defense against repair expense.
I'm Bryant Gumbel, live from Hollywood. A special Today at Night looks at TV's past, present, and future with guests Jackie Gleason, Bill Cosby, and much more. Join us Thursday night.
Don Cricket with Bob Trumpy back at Mile High Stadium. Dan Reeves, the Denver coach, said before the game, this can't be the biggest game of the year if we got 15 to play after it, but it's pretty big.
There's no doubt about that. I think he was downplaying how important this football game is, knowing the Raiders are the Denver Broncos' biggest opponent in the division, and the fact that the Denver Broncos have been projected as a contender for the Super Bowl. Today you find out if you're contender or pretender. So far it doesn't look good for the Broncos.
Jets have now come back to take a 7-point lead on Buffalo as the kick goes downfield, and coming back hard is Gene Lang breaking to the outside. Sammy Seal trying to run him down and finally gets him out of bounds at the 30. Where the Broncos go on offense, 1st and 10, and as we look at the 10-minute ticker, let's get set to go back to New York and Bob Costas.
All right, Don, after spotting Buffalo a 7-0 lead early, the Jets have come back and they lead 14-7 after this 46-yarder from Ken O'Brien to Al Toon. A pretty play for the touchdown. The Jets by 7 in the second at Buffalo. Back to Don and Bob.
7:12 to play in the first half here at Mile High Stadium. As John Elway, you see good numbers on the board. He included in his production as a touchdown reception the last time the Broncos had the ball, and a trick play that worked. Oop, lame duck, free ball. It falls incomplete at the 47-yard line of the Raiders.
Long right in his face. Last season, the Los Angeles Raiders began the season against the New York Jets. Sacked Ken O'Brien 10 times. The coaches of the New York Jets thought that Raider defensive line hit O'Brien probably 30 times all day long. That's what the Broncos are going to get unless they can establish some running game to keep the defensive line of the Raiders honest.
Howie Long has been a Pro Bowl starter for 3 straight years. Now his 6th year. He's the best, and he's coming hard again as penalty markers go down. They're going to get the Broncos on a holding call as Vance Johnson got the ball out to the 39-yard line and paid for it. Mike Haynes hit him hard as Vance Johnson slow to get up.
He's grabbing his knee, too.
So this standout second-year receiver, Vance Johnson, goes down and is attended to as the play will come back on a holding call.
Now watch what Denver's trying to do. Just use Johnson's foot speed. Clear the line of scrimmage to avoid the bump and run, and then outrun Mike Haynes. Let's see if we can see the injury. I believe he's grabbing his... I think he's grabbing his right knee. I don't think that's a serious injury. Luckily for the Denver Broncos,
Illegal use of the hands.
You can make a heck of a diagnosis from 300 yards away.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Oh, you've been there a lot of times.
Yeah, you have a lot of trainers leaning over you. You can tell by how things turn and how guys grab things as to whether they're serious, minor. I'll be back. Let's see the way he walks.
Dan Reeves with a protest to Jim Tunney. Now, that doesn't look too good, although he's putting weight on it. Vance Johnson coming off. They say, you know, it's really serious when one of the guys looking at him has a tie on.
Or the other team motions for your team doctor. Let's see if we can pick up what happened here.
Your diagnosis was right. Vance Johnson's coming right up.
I don't think that's serious. I think he kind of got his leg hyperextended slightly, but I think we'll be back. He'll be back quickly.
Major League Baseball, the regular season coming down the stretch. The Red Sox now leading by a commanding margin in the American League East. Go against the Yankees next Saturday afternoon, or it's the Reds against the Dodgers. NBC's Major League Baseball game of the week next Saturday. Clint Sampson is now in at wide receiver. He'll be going deep on a 2nd and 20. Hard throw. Mark Jackson, a rookie from Purdue, coming over the middle, gets the ball and gets out to the 32-yard line, where it'll bring up 3rd down and about 10.
Here comes Johnson back in the ball game. Jackson knows how to catch it. Caught a lot of passes from Jim Everett at Purdue. He comes out. Vance Johnson stays in the ball game.
And a lot of speculation that the Houston Oilers, who've not signed Jim Everett, who is one of the high draft picks this year, might trade him to one of the Los Angeles teams. The Raiders said they've called, but we're not interested. Rams are supposedly having some conversations. Here's Elway sprinting out and gets the ball away spectacularly to Vance Johnson. Open field move and a fine tackle by Seal saved a lot of yardage, but on 3rd and long, 3rd and 10, the Broncos get a 1st down, but again, Vance Johnson is slow to get up.
That's the same leg. Watch what happens here. He's running a pattern, looks fine. It's his right leg, Stacy Turan there. And then once again, the ability of John Elway to scramble. He throws it back across the field, makes the catch. Now watch his right leg. It looks like it just goes out from underneath him when he tries to make a move on it. Now this looks a little more serious. When your leg starts giving it away, then you're looking for the bench for a while.
Tough one for Vance Johnson
and the Broncos.
Last week in a final preseason game against the Rams, Vance caught 11 passes for 195 yards and opened up big here today. First Elway throw to him was for 21 yards, and soon after was followed by an Elway touchdown pass to Watson. But since then, the Raiders have come back strong, and right now they lead 22-14 with 5 minutes and 40 seconds to play. First half. Now the Broncos setting to run. Power formation. Here's a pitch back to Sewell. He was their #1 draft choice from Oklahoma a year ago. Cutting back, he got about 3, maybe 4, down to the 48-yard line of the Raiders. Van McElroy, the Raider free safety, tackled him. Both quarterbacks with some good numbers.
Wilson 7 of 15, 152 yards and 2 touchdowns. Elway 10 of 16, 137 yards and a touchdown. And I noticed the Denver Broncos have got Mark Cooper back in the ball game, but now he's playing left guard. Paul Howard still at right guard. Bryan at center. Keith Bishop is the guy out of the lineup.
Draw play and a fine defensive play by the Raiders. Reading it all the way, James Davis, an extra defensive back, #45, shot the gap and made the knockdown. Tackle on Gene Lang, and the game clock continues to run down to 4:40 to play. First half. Raiders 22, Broncos 14.
Excuse me, that was a safety blitz by the Los Angeles Raiders. He had the good luck, pure coincidence, that he blitzed right in the spot where the Denver Broncos were running the draw play. Easy tackle for Davis.
Elway needs 8 on this 3rd down throw. Here comes the blitz, and all-out rush, an open man. Sewell's wide open, puts a move on McElroy and gets down to the 33-yard line. He has a Bronco first down and a 17-yard gain. Blown coverage. They never covered Sewell.
Tell you what, though, that's a great tackle by McElroy. If he doesn't make the tackle, it's 6 points. You see Turan. You see everybody coming up there. Piquel is untouched. Sewell, the hot receiver. McElroy makes a great tackle. I mean, somebody did blow the coverage, but boy, that is a touchdown-saving tackle by Van McElroy. Corners of the Los Angeles Raiders, not very good tacklers. Safeties, very good tacklers. McElroy and Turan.
That's his job. Get him in the open field. Now on first down, the pitch back comes to Sammy Winder. Led the Broncos in rushing last season, working hard to get 3 against the Raider defense. Rod Martin knocks him down along with Matt Millen. Ball positioned at the 30-yard line of the Los Angeles Raiders. Raiders defeated the Broncos twice in overtime last year when the final numbers were up at season's end. The Raiders had a 12-4 record and a record in an AFC Western Championship, and despite an 11-5 finish, just 1 game off, Broncos were the first 11-game winner not to make the playoffs. We'll be checking the scoreboard after this play. Gene Lang almost had open field. He works hard and looks like he has a first down for Denver, as the Broncos start to run the ball with some success as the game wears on. Now the scoreboard. San Diego and Miami putting up points down the coast of San Diego. 26-14 now. Chargers in the lead. New England continues to hold a 7-point lead. Cincinnati and Kansas City still tied, and Seattle still leading Pittsburgh 6-0. Those late starting games all at halftime. We're 2 minutes and 8 seconds from halftime here in Mile High Stadium. Mark Jackson's wide to the near side as Elway goes to the draw. Gene Lang takes it down to the 20.
Matt Millen and Paul Howard.
We're down now to the 2-minute warning. Trump, the Broncos today have 4 illegal use of hands calls.
That defensive line makes you do a lot of things.
Back after this.
Feel the power, feel the heat. A kick of energy from good whole wheat. Name is Wheaties, not too sweet. Just a big bad hit of good whole wheat. Hello milk, turn it on. Wheaties keeps you keeping on. Fulfilled all out good whole wheat. Now go tell your mama what the big boys eat.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
This year, as in years past, the United States Auto Club conducted a nationwide study to determine which leading car rental company has the best conditioned cars. Hundreds of cars were tested. Over 36,000 individual items were inspected, from brakes to ashtrays. And for the 4th time, National Car Rental beat Hertz, Avis, and Budget, hands down. National Car Rental, #1 in car condition.
Call it character. Even nobility, if you like. It should be known as the best of its kind. And most of all, a light beer should be as great as its namesake. That's why there's Bud Light. The light beer with the first name in taste. Everything else is just a light.
Tom Flores, a rather remarkable statistic, a record giving high praise to Flores' talents as a coach. Only Shula has won more games over the past 7 seasons than Tom Flores, who's beginning his 8th year as head coach of the Raiders. In his 2nd year as head coach of the Raiders, they won the Super Bowl.
Very low-key coach. Kind of let the players do what they want. Just get them to the plane to travel to Denver. Make sure they show up with game time on time. Pretty much leaves the direction of the team in the hands of the veterans, and they know how to take care of themselves.
Elway and the Broncos with 1:57 to go in the first half. Throw and a completion to Gene Lang, and a good defensive play. Stacy Turan, the strong safety, comes up to make the stop. Greg Townsend was putting a rush on John Elway. Brings up 3rd down now for Denver as the sun is broken through.
Don, so far the Raiders have done an outstanding job of rushing their defensive ends wide to keep John Elway from rolling out and just scrambling through the defense like he generally does against most teams. There's no doubt in anybody's mind that the defensive people of the Raiders reminded those defensive ends, get outside and upfield. Keep Elway in there.
Don Shula says the Raiders are the fastest team in football, and they've improved on that speed as Elway goes deep now. And it's incomplete in the end zone. No call. He was looking. Now there's a penalty marker down. Penalty marker goes down late in the end zone. Turan was covering.
Discussion is whether or not the ball can be caught. If the officials determine that the ball could not be caught, no penalty.
And Matt Millen is hot.
That's why they stopped there and talked for a minute. That ball can't be caught.
Clark Kent couldn't get that one.
Neither could Manute Bol. But nevertheless, the interference penalty stands, and it's at the 1. I think that's a break for the Denver Broncos.
I think it's a big break for the Broncos, and they'll gladly accept it as the ball is down to the 1-yard line. 1st and goal. It'll be tough to go to overtime today because of that safety.
They'll figure out a way.
It's right. The last 3 times these teams haven't decided it until overtime. Over the touchdown Raiders. I thought Elway might take it himself, so he just scored by passing, running, and receiving.
And the thing that surprises me the most is these two teams have put up 42 points on the board in the first half, and the turning point was the trick play to get the Denver Broncos back in the ball game. A tight end trap by Clarence K, 88. Gene Lang with good power, stuttered number 70 with a decent block, and into the end zone.
So the Raiders on the questionable interference call in the end zone. See the Broncos go 1st and goal from the 1, and Gene Lang is in the end zone quickly. So now Carlos is on the field. Buying the point after, which will bring Denver back to within 1. It's a 22-21 game. It's good.
Dodge salutes those who strive for victory with this edition of The Winners.
He's a complete football player. He can do it all. He's the best linebacker in the National Football League, and I don't think there's any question about it.
In Chicago, the glue that holds the Bears' defense together is linebacker Mike Singletary. In 1985, he saved his best for the playoffs as the Bears topped 2 straight shutouts with a Super Bowl win. Mike Singletary makes the Chicago Bears winners.
In the beginning of recorded history, man had an idea called a caravan. Slow and plodding, but right for its time. Some years later, man had a better idea. Dodge Caravan. Efficient, versatile, and perfect for its time. With front-wheel drive and a 550 protection plan. Which is why Dodge Caravan has no equal in the civilized world. Dodge, setting new standards of performance.
The Raiders come back now after giving up the touchdown run from a yard out after the penalty call against them, ready to return the kickoff from Denver. 1:07 left to go in the first half. Raiders 22, Broncos 21.
That's an excellent drive. 6-17. A lot of different things. A couple of penalties helped, especially the pass interference.
At the end of the first quarter, the Raiders had a 19-7 lead. Stephon Adams running the ball back for Los Angeles is thrown back on good special teams play by Denver. Mike Harden was down, number 31, first man to hit him, along with Ken Bell, 35.
Look at 98 there of the Denver Broncos. Rick Hundley, I think you're beginning to see a little fatigue. He's not only starting and playing most defensive plays and calling the defensive signals, but he's on the kickoff coverage. And of course, with that big battle with Steve Busick, who was traded to the Los Angeles Rams. There's Paul Howard taking over on the offensive line. Keith Bishop is now the man out. Mark Cooper has moved to the other side.
1 minute to go in the first half. Nobody plays beat the clock like the Raiders. Let's see what they do in this final minute as they get the ball out to the 30-yard line. First down carry, good for 10. 4 new downs. Clock ticking now down, as you see. 45 seconds. That's the wrong clock imposed right there. Our clock stopped, but the official clock was still running. We're down to 35. Our unofficial clock just jammed for the moment there. The game clock is down to 30 seconds to play. And running.
Broncos with 6 defensive backs, Don.
Hawkins. Now the Raiders call a timeout with 18 seconds to play in the first half.
So we'll be back right after this.
I'm Howie Long of the Los Angeles Raiders. My wife Diane and I are new parents. This is our new baby Christopher, and we want the best for Christopher and for all children. That's why we're United Way volunteers. We visit the schools, we talk with the children. Hi, kids. Hi. We're here today to talk to you about the Sunrise program. There are 3,300,000 problem drinkers in the age group from 14 to 17.
That's why we're here. These children themselves are evidence that we aren't too early in starting this education to help them make important choices they'll have to face.
If we've gotten even one child not to use alcohol, then we've succeeded. More and more of us in the National Football League are joining in this fight, and it's a fight we can't afford to lose. And when you choose to help through your support of the United Way, we can all be winners. So these kids will have a better tomorrow.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
Back at Mile High Stadium, Hawkins just ran the ball for the Raiders. Got ahead for a first down, but there's only 10 seconds to play now in the first half. Raiders holding to a 22-21 lead.
Denver can't look forward to this.
Walk off. They're not going to put it in play.
Don, Denver can't look forward to this third quarter in 1985.
Yep.
Miserable third quarter.
They were outscored 103-39 in the third quarters in the 85 season. It cost them dearly. Rarely scored a point late in the season in the third quarter. So the Denver Broncos with Coach Dan Reeves head to the locker room, and the Raiders and Coach Flores go back in at a halftime council session with a 22-21 score on the board. The Raiders holding to a 1-point lead after they trailed 7-0, then came back to lead 19-7 over the Broncos. We'll be going to New York for NFL 86 very shortly, as it has turned now into a very lovely day in Denver, Colorado. The threat of rain seems to be gone, although the lights around the sun has broken through. NFL 86 halftime activities will continue in a moment. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
Ricardo and Bully were getting on each other's nerves.
Mr. Big Shot won't listen to anybody. He knows who the unknown soldier is. Oh, yeah. Go ahead, tell her.
But now that they moved to Beverly Hills, things will be looking up.
We're having fun now.
They usually award you the game ball when you lead your team to a big win. And Congressman Tim Worth has been given the game ball by the people of Colorado for his fight to protect habitat for hunting and fishing, for his fight to protect Social Security, for his fight to improve the quality of our drinking water. So let's give Tim Worth the ball as our next United States Senator. He hasn't dropped it yet. Tim Worth for U.S. Senate, fighting for Colorado's future.
Last year, the Denver Post changed forever the way you find something good to watch on television. Now, TV Cable Week, already Denver's most popular complete single source of TV listings, just got better. And finding your favorite programs just got easier, even on cable. You'll get this revolutionary guide only in the Sunday Denver Post. Subscribe now for just 85 cents a week. Get Sundays free. Call 1-800-221-2100.
You're watching News Center 4, the Broncos station.
This News Center 4 halftime edition is brought to you in part by Subaru, inexpensive and built to stay that way, and by Checker Auto for max selection, protection, and savings. Make tracks for the max. Checker.
Hello, I'm Penny Griego.
I'm Peter Rogat. Welcome to this Bronco halftime update.
Coming up right after the game, we'll have live locker room interviews with the winners and the losers.
Also after the game, what do Bronco fans think of the new parking system? Some lucky fans got to park for free today, but right now others are being ticketed. Some have their cars towed. It's all part of the city's new crackdown on parking in neighborhoods around Mile High Stadium. Game 1 has brought some headaches, but some praise, too.
Tonight, Jay Crantier is coming home, his nightmare behind him. The parking man is one of the Americans who was held hostage on that hijacked Pan Am flight in Pakistan. His wife tells us he's due to arrive back in Denver area around 8 tonight. She says she can hardly wait for the reunion. In fact, similar reunions are going on all over the country tonight as the victims of the Pan Am tragedy come home. A plane load of survivors, some injured, arrived in Frankfurt, West Germany this morning. 40 or so Americans and FBI agents are talking to them to learn more about what happened Thursday in Pakistan. 6 injured Americans will remain in a Frankfurt hospital tonight.
Police in Istanbul, Turkey say they have no leads into the terrorist attack on a synagogue yesterday. 21 people were gunned down, including an Italian and 2 Iranians in the temple. The gunmen then took their own lives. Now police say they're not sure which terrorist group is responsible for the bloody attack. In Moscow tonight, American reporter Nicholas Danilov has been charged with espionage, and Danilov says he could face the death penalty. He was arrested August 30th when a Soviet friend passed along a package with secret maps. Danilov told a friend by phone late today that he believes he could be put to death if found guilty. Tonight, the White House warns this whole situation could have serious implications for U.S.-Soviet relations.
President Reagan is on the campaign trail. He made a brief appearance in Los Angeles today. Next stop, Denver tomorrow. It's his first visit since he made a trip to Colorado Springs and the Air Force Academy in 1984. The president will spend just over an hour in Denver. The event, a fundraiser for Republican Senate candidate Ken Cramer.
There's more ahead. Gloomy, wet days. How long will Denver look like a London fog commercial?
Oh, and there are the Raider haters, and boy, are they having fun today.
You always hurt the one you love. People have a love-hate relationship with their cars. They love them, but they don't always treat them right. Yet amazingly, over 90% of all Subarus registered since 1974 are still on the road. Now imagine how much longer they would last if people didn't love them so much. See your local Colorado Subaru dealer.
When you want parts for your car, don't settle for good enough. Big tax for the Max Checker. Get power to spare. Our new Megatorque batteries now start at a low $29.95. Plus, flag motor oil is only 69 cents a quart. Automatic transmission fluid is just 89 cents a quart. And don't forget a new flag oil filter, now just $1.88. For max selection, protection, and savings, you know where to go. Checker Auto Parts.
Ed, old buddy, we're really in a bind. Suppose you could postpone that vacation a couple of weeks.
I need a vacation.
Ed, we got a new problem here.
I need a vacation.
This just came up, Eddie. In fact, everyone else is on vacation.
If you couldn't get away this summer, you can still get United's great low fares to more places this fall. We're the biggest bargain airline in the land.
I got a vacation.
Ed, Eddie, where is he?
I'm not just flying.
Did he go for coffee?
I'm flying the friendly skies.
Your child's learning style, Monday at 4:30.
Also coming up on News Center 4 right after the game, Denver area Raider haters are out in force today. We'll show you where a group of them gathered to share their distaste for the silver and black and joined in on a cheering battle against the black attack.
Fall is 2 weeks away, but you wouldn't know it by looking at the sky today. Steve Anderson tells us whether it continues tomorrow.
No, it doesn't continue tomorrow, but, you know, good for most of us who like the nice weather. But very appropriate weather for a football game today, I think.
Comfortable.
Comfortable at 55 degrees right now. Let's check out the radar picture. We'll show you where the showers are heaviest now, down around Colorado Springs. Some thunderstorms down in that area again. But the big news today is the upslope, the cold air, and the low clouds, fog, drizzle over much of the area. Not so much drizzle this afternoon here in Denver. We've seen some breaks in the clouds as expected this afternoon. That doesn't mean it's going to be all that nice today, but by tomorrow, a big change in the weather, back to the more summer-like conditions or maybe spring-like conditions.
As long as it stays dry and mile high.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Steve.
Also after the game, we'll tell you about a new nightmare parents are facing. Their kids racking up huge phone bills using 917 numbers. We'll talk to one couple with a $1,400 bill for just 1 month.
Wow. We'll also talk about the Bronco Raiders game. As usual, we'll have locker room interviews from Mile High Stadium right after the game, and that will be right in part of News Center 4 at 5. So please join us for the latest news, weather, and sports on News Center 4 at 5.
This new Center 4 halftime edition is brought to you in part by Subaru, inexpensive and built to stay that way, and by Checker Auto for max selection, protection, and savings. Make tracks for the max. Checker.
Sweat it out. We know the score. Make it tight. We'll save you more. Wrench it, round it, drill it, pound it. We'll help you do it right.
Your project's not like the next guy's. You need what's right. Count on Hugh M. Woods. We got the right lumber for your job. Just drive right in and pick what you want. There's acres of it. All at the same low price contractors pay, guaranteed.
Don't do it yourself without us.
Hugh M. Woods.
Censorship in America, Monday at 10.
And we welcome you back to NFL 86. Quickly through the scores in the game you're watching, the Raiders in Denver, every bit as close and exciting as you might have anticipated. 22-21 Raiders at the half. They've gone to the third quarter in Buffalo. Jim Kelly's debut. It included a touchdown pass on the Bills' first possession. But it's the Jets with a 14-10 lead early in the third quarter. Big play for them in the second period. Ken O'Brien, last year's NFL percentage passing leader, hits Al Toon, the second-year wide receiver, 46 yards for a touchdown. Jets with a 14-10 lead. Halftime in San Diego, 2 touchdown passes for Fouts, 2 for Marino, a 26-14 lead for the Chargers. At one point, they led 17-0. They had a big first quarter, and it included this play. Watch the effort by Gary Anderson after the reception from Fouts. He goes airborne for the spectacular touchdown. They have now gone to the third quarter in Foxborough, where the Patriots lead Indianapolis 10-3. They're in the third quarter at Arrowhead Stadium, and the Bengals and Chiefs are tied at 7 apiece. Third quarter at the Kingdome. Seattle is in front of Pittsburgh 6-0. Pittsburgh with 4 new starters along the offensive line because of injuries. Earlier today, Chicago defeats Cleveland 41-31, 113 yards and a pair of touchdowns for Walter Payton. A shoulder injury late in the game for Jim McMahon. We don't know how serious. And this, first ever regular season use of the instant replay rule. They're conferring with the guy upstairs after the third play from scrimmage in the game. Jay Hilgenberg's snap, eluding Jim McMahon. In the scuffle for the ball, it squirts to the back of the end zone. Al Gross of Cleveland picks it up, and the replay official says, yes, he got it before he went out of the end zone, and it's a Cleveland touchdown. Dennis Gentry had a 91-yard kick return for a TD also in that game. For Chicago, the Bears win it 41-31. Washington, with the old Bears assistant Buddy Ryan coaching on the other side, clobbers Ryan's Eagles 41-14. 2 touchdowns for Redskin newcomer Kelvin Bryant, and the master of defense, Buddy Ryan, has a little work to do with his new personnel. The 41 points, the most ever yielded in any game by the Eagles in 11 years. The Rams beat the Cardinals 16-10, 193 yards and a couple of touchdowns for Eric Dickerson, but the Cards could have won it. Time ran out on them trying to get off the last play at the 1-yard line of L.A. Houston, with Warren Moon throwing for 2 and running for another, beat Green Bay 31-3. Big day for James Jones of the Lions, 174 yards. Detroit wins at Minnesota 13-10. San Francisco intercepts Steve DeBerg 7 times. They romp at Tampa Bay 31-7. Atlanta's William Andrews returned, nothing spectacular, 5 carries, 28 yards. The Falcons beat Jim Morris' Saints in Morris' coaching debut at the Superdome 31-10. Martina Navratilova defeated Helena Sikova 6-3, 6-2 to win the women's title at the U.S. Open today. Third time in 4 years that Martina has done it. In the men's final, Lendl leads Machir early. He won the first set 6-4. He is serving in the second set and leading 5-2 in pursuit of the men's title. And we'll come back with more on NFL 86 as we continue with our halftime activities in just a moment.